Tennis became one of my primary athletic events after that, and really replaced golf. I enjoyed a lot of singles and was largely self-taught with a series of books and videos to help me along. And there was a gradual improvement. I enjoyed it, even when I wasn't very good. And would play a lot with friends, and later had a court in our backyard when we lived in Storrs, Connecticut, after my remarriage. The sport became a very important social aspect of my life, getting to know many more people and sharing time with them on the courts and afterwards. Then when we retired to Naples, Florida, there were excellent opportunities for golf, but also tennis. So I stayed with tennis, and after the first 10 years in the moorings, where I would play intermittently at different clubs, I joined the Windermere Country Club, with tennis being one of the primary attractions. There I took some lessons from the pro, and over a period of a few months I improved dramatically, and actually that year and a couple of years after that I was able, with a partner, to win some trophies, tournaments, club tournaments at the C level. They pushed me into the B level after winning some of these, but I had to recognize that these people had been playing a high level tennis a lot longer than I had, and I became a mediocre B level, or 3-5. And as the years went along, receded back to a C level, or a 3.0, where I've stabilized and continued to play up to the current date, and enjoying it very much. I haven't played singles in about 20 years, but doubles allows me to enjoy being out there and meeting new friends all the time. My son, Court, has asked that I include some of the adventures we had in sailing. There were many. If you sail very long, you always have some challenges and adventures. One somewhat amusing one was in a charter in the Chesapeake Bay. We had lost the function of the engine on the first day out, and decided not to take it back for repairs and lose some of our precious vacation time. So we said, we're sailors, we can handle this without the motor. So we would take care to drop anchor for the night at the mouth of a river, so that we would be one of the early ones to receive enough wind to sail. And one morning, as we started out, it was Greg and Court and a friend of theirs. And I gave the order to weigh anchor, and they proceeded to bow and pulled in the anchor, and we pulled up the mainsail and started sailing off in one direction toward the middle of the river. And there was this sudden pull as though we had gone aground in mud. The Chesapeake is largely mud, so this is not dangerous, but it's not good news. The boat came upright, and I threw the wheel to the other tack, and we got off and started sailing in that direction. And before very long, maybe 15 seconds or so, the same thing occurred in that direction, and I was really confused as to where this shallow mud might be. At any rate, as I was puzzling this, I looked back along the side of the boat and discovered the anchor line. What had happened was the boys had pulled the anchor into the bow all right, but they hadn't pinned it in place to keep it in position. And as they left the bow, it simply slid back down and into the water and down and grabbed the bottom. Nothing serious, but very puzzling. On another occasion, we were sailing in the fog in Maine. Having decided that the fog was with us every day, we might as well sail or we'd never get anything done. And we were heading up toward Booth Bay Harbor, offshore, and with very careful dead reckoning navigation, using the fathometer, and there was no radar on that boat. At any rate, Court was on the bow waiting to spot an island as we came along, and the next thing we heard some sounds of waves, and he spotted some white line of surf and yelled, "Land ho, rocks ahead," and we pivoted away 30 degrees from that, which was probably only maybe 50 yards ahead of us, and successfully proceeded on into our destination. A little disturbing to be that close before we were aware of it. Another one was coming through Plum Gut with a charter and a full family crew. We had a squall line hit us just about the time we came through, and we dropped all the sails and stood through quite well. Got out on the other side and raised our sails after the storm went by in about a short time of 20 or 30 minutes. And then I heard one of the boys say, "The dinghy's gone." And sure enough, in the tension of handling sails and all, the tie for the dinghy's painter had not been secured. We searched the area, called the Coast Guard, and figured the wind, waves, and current in Long Island Sound, and searched this area quite thoroughly the rest of the afternoon, but with no success. And as we headed into West Harbor of Fisher's Island, I had given the tiller over to David and told him to just follow the marks on into the harbor. And when I came out, the sun had set, and I looked back and saw that one of the marks was on the wrong side. And I said, "Which side did you leave that on?" And sure enough, he'd left it on the wrong side. And we'd had no problem, but I said, I don't know precisely where we are because of that, so let's drop anchor and stop right here, which we did, and it was very foggy, and we couldn't see much beyond that. We had a pleasant night, and the next morning it was clear. And as I looked out from the window of the port, there, right beside the boat, probably 25 feet away, were these large boulders. Again, fortunate that we had dropped anchor immediately when we weren't sure where we were. Fog problems. Well, after we had our own boat, let's see, Zenel was sailing with us, and we were coming back from Cuttyhunk, and we had gotten into a solid fog, but I remembered there was a line of barrels that marked some fishing nets off of the entrance to Sakonnet River. And because the radio told us there were all kinds of accidents and problems in the Newport area, we decided not to even venture in that direction, but to head for the river, which is a bit short of Newport. At any rate, we spotted these barrels and dropped the sail and motored very slowly in toward land, watching the fathometer, still with good depth, and the depth should have gradually diminished as we came toward the sweep of a beach, but they stayed fairly deep at 20 to 30 feet as we continued north. And about this time, Zenel on the bow yelled, "Rocks ahead." I turned 30 degrees to the starboard, and as soon as that happened, she yells again, "Rocks ahead." We turned another 30, "Rocks ahead." Well, we had just gotten about 90 degrees, and I said, enough of this. We turned back to a reciprocal course and headed south out of this area. Still recalls seeing a man standing up in a small rowboat and thinking, what's he doing way out here in the ocean? Well, he must have been thinking, what are we doing in here in this rocky cove? Because we were very close to trouble. So I continued out of that area till I had 80 feet on the fathometer, and then we swung back toward the east again, and were able to find that beach and follow it along and into Sakonnet River. What had misled us was something I didn't know. There were two of these lines of barrels, and we had apparently missed the first one to the east and recognized the second one, which led into the trouble zone that was described. That convinced us that we had to do something about obtaining radar for our boat. There was a new product, a smaller radar that would be appropriate for a small boat, and that was purchased, and we have relied on that many times since. It's a very reassuring instrument by Raytheon. At any rate, that was another scary experience. I think I better wrap this up now. I think the blessings of my life have been many, and probably the most is the children. When we melded our families, my 4 and Syl's 3 meshed very well. They enjoyed each other immensely and still do. Their families and careers have been successful. We have multiple grandchildren, and our lives are largely filled, especially in the summertime, with visiting and observing and experiencing their lives as we visit their homes and they come to ours. The winter is a bit different. We get them to travel to Naples on occasion, but this is a special treat. So, with blessings to all, thank you